So you grab a Coke.
Mm.
Ever think about like how it actually got there? Like the journey?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's something we take for granted, isn't it?
Totally.
Oh.
But today we're going deep, deep, deep on Coke's journey, but specifically in Africa. And let me tell you, it's not just about fizzy drinks.
No, not at all.
We've got this super interesting book, Bottled, How Coca-Cola Became African, by Sara Byala.
Fantastic book.
Yeah, and it's really an eye-opener. So get this, we're going to explore how Coke, spread throughout the whole continent, but also the unexpected role it played, especially in South Africa.
Yeah, it really gets intertwined with some major historical moments.
Oh, for sure. Like it makes you rethink what you thought you knew about, like big businesses and, what their role is in society and stuff.
Right. It challenges those assumptions.
Okay, so first off, like the book talks about how Coke spread across Africa in these like really unique ways. I mean, some of this stuff is crazy.
Oh, yeah, they were very creative.
Yeah, like they were doing co-branding with, get this, petrol stations.
Petrol stations, yeah. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. You're on a road trip, you need to fill up your tank, might as well grab a Coke.
Yeah, I guess so, but like who thinks of that? And then, get this, beauty pageants.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, that was a big thing. And it was all part of this like strategy, right?
Yeah.
To really embed Coca-Cola into the fabric of everyday life.
So it wasn't just about like quenching your thirst. It was about
shaping culture.
Yeah.
Creating experiences, making Coca-Cola synonymous with good times, with community.
Wow. Okay, so they were creating a whole like Coca-Cola world, basically.
You could say that, yeah.
Okay, but then things get really interesting, especially when you look at what was happening in South Africa during apartheid.
Yeah, that's where the story takes a pretty surprising turn.
So what was Coke's role in all that?
Well, initially, Coca-Cola tried to kind of stay neutral, stay out of the political stuff.
Focus on business.
Exactly. But even then, they pushed back against some of the apartheid laws. Like, they refused to have segregated facilities in their plants.
So even early on, they were kind of taking a stand. Interesting. Okay, so what happened next?
Well, the pressure kept building, especially in the 1980s. There was a lot of activism in the U.S.
Yeah, makes sense.
And Coca-Cola was facing, these growing demands to really address the racial inequalities, both at home and, in their international operations.
Right. And that's where Carl Ware comes in, right?
Right.
I remember reading about him like he was this pivotal figure for Coca-Cola in South Africa.
Oh, absolutely. Carl Ware was he was a visionary leader, and he spearheaded this like really fascinating disinvestment strategy.
Disinvestment? Okay, tell me more about that.
Okay. So they figured out a way to keep selling Coke, which was already like hugely popular.
Everyone loved it.
But at the same time, cut off this like crucial tax revenue to the apartheid state. They actually moved their concentrate plant to the neighboring country, Eswatini.
Hold on. They moved an entire plant.
Yep.
That's pretty wild. I mean, that's a power move. So did it work?
It was a huge risk. I mean, it really sent shockwaves. But it gets even more intriguing. Coca-Cola went even further and actually started aligning themselves with the African National Congress, the ANC.
Wow, the main organization fighting apartheid.
Exactly. They were holding these secret meetings, funding clandestine activities. They even partnered with Archbishop Desmond Tutu to set up this charitable fund.
It's like straight out of a spy novel.
I know, right? And the book really dives into all the details. Byala, she interviewed tons of people, went through all these archival materials. It's incredibly well researched.
Okay, so what about the lasting impact of all this? Was it like purely political, or did it actually have some real world effects?
Well, actually, it led to a huge surge in Coca-Cola's presence in South Africa after apartheid ended.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were able to invest even more, create economic opportunities. And honestly, you can see echoes of this in like their current global initiatives, like their 5x20 project. It's all about empowering women in business all over the world.
That's pretty cool, but like no story's ever completely, black and white. I'm guessing there were some downsides too, right?
You're absolutely right. There are definitely concerns about the health impacts of, increased soda consumption.
What, like more sugar, right?
Exactly. And things like diabetes and, dental problems have unfortunately risen alongside Coke's popularity. It's something we have to acknowledge.
Yeah, for sure. It's complicated. So, okay, like they basically conquered the market, but they also played this like surprising role in opposing apartheid.
Hmm.
This really makes you think about, the responsibility of big corporations. Like, can they really be like a force for good while also, chasing profits?
It's a really thought-provoking question, isn't it? And it kind of brings us back to you, the listener. What do you make of all this? Does it change how you see Coca-Cola?
Yeah, it definitely challenges our assumptions about corporate power, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
is it possible for companies to be both successful and ethical?
It's a complex issue, and to really get the full picture with all the nuances, I highly recommend checking out Bottled: How Coca-Cola Became African. It's a fascinating read.
It really makes you think. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this deep dive,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll catch you next time.